This is the AHSAA Weekly, your inside look at everything going on with the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I'm John Holder. Coming up this week, it's a special show. A year in review. What a memorable and crazy year it was in high school athletics in the state of Alabama. And we're going to take you back through the entire 2021 school year, the entire athletic season covering all the sports in the Alabama High School Athletic Association. It is going to be an action-packed show, and we'll be back to kick things off in just a moment.
Uneven floors got you rolling? Ox Foundation Solutions has the expertise and the know-how to repair cracks, wet basements and crawl spaces, and uneven floors in your home. It's time to get strong. How strong? Ox Strong. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
We are back on this special edition of the AHSAA Weekly as we take a look back at the 2020-2021 athletic year in the AHSAA. And we are going to begin with David Holtzford bringing us highlights from all the sports all around the state from throughout the year with some selected highlights of this past school year. We're going to begin in outdoor track. And in outdoor track, the year that almost didn't happen produced the fastest female in AHSAA history and the fastest male sprinter in AHSAA history. Both competed in Class 5A. In the Class 5A outdoor 100-meter dash, senior Shanice Spicer of Brubaker Tech of Montgomery, seen here winning her prelim in 11.51 seconds, breaking her own state record. She went on to win in the finals with an 11.83 time, but her prelim time is now the one for girls to beat. Parker High School senior Jacobin Retta, like Spicer, will be sprinting for the University of Alabama next year. We pick him up here running the fastest 100-meter dash time in AHSAA state meet history, winning his prelim race in 10.27 seconds. He also won the finals with a time of 10.59 and broke the Class 5A 200-meter record in the same meet. Closing out the AHSAA Track Championships, we see Scottsboro sophomore Maddox Ham becoming the first pole vaulter in AHSAA history to clear higher than 17 feet. He set the AHSAA state record, clearing 17 feet and a quarter inch to help the Wildcats finish second overall in the Class 6A competition to Opelika. And now we move to the AHSAA State Softball Championships at Oxford's Choccolocco Park, where Orange Beach High School's girls softball team ended its first season in memorable fashion. We pick up the action here with the Maco's 7th grader Ava Hodo launching a dramatic 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th inning, lifting Orange Beach to a 3-2 victory over Pisgah in the Class 2A championship game. The clutch homer was a defining moment for a sport that saw its season cut short in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. What an exciting year it was as we move now to the sport of football, where we had so many unforgettable moments, starting first with one of the strangest of all time. With 14.9 seconds left and Hillcrest Tuscaloosa trailing Wetumpka 30-28 in a regular season game during Week 3, the Patriots reached into their dwindling bag of tricks for possibly the most unusual final play in AHSAA history. What happens next was shown around the world and talked about for weeks. Quarterback Ethan Crawford takes the snap, finding wideout Marcus Wilkins, who laterals it back, following 8 more laterals and a scramble for a loose ball. Crawford gets the ball in his hands one final time and runs for a touchdown in a dramatic 34-30 win over the Patriots. The final play that you're seeing right here lasted almost 50 seconds of time. And again, there's the final lateral, the final pickup, and the final run for the touchdown in one of the wildest games in AHSAA state history, Hillcrest Tuscaloosa and Wetumpka. And in the same week, Fife High School defeated Sylvania, earning Coach Paul Benefield his 300th victory, and he was given the ride of a lifetime off the field on his players' shoulders. The Red Devils would close the season, beating Montgomery Catholic 21-16 in a dramatic comeback at Bryant-Denny Stadium in the Class 3A Super 7 state finals to extend the state's longest current winning streak to 45 in a row. Well, no winter sports team was more eager to get into the action than Asheville High School, which won its first ever Class 1A through 4A wrestling championship thanks to wrestlers like Jay Burgess, shown here winning his 160-pound semifinal bout over Ramburn's Taylor Cornwell, and Jacob Ebner defeating Taylor Thompson from Weaver in the 220-pound weight class semifinals for the Asheville Bulldogs. History was also made at the 7A championships when Evelyn Holmes Smith of Enterprise High School became the first female wrestler to win a wrestling match in the Class 7A state wrestling competition. The 8th grader is shown defeating Bob Jones freshman Jack Shaver and would later go on to defeat Fairhope's Walker Holder to give her 2 wins in 3 matches. And giving wrestling fans a reason to look back to 2022, Ranburne sophomore grappler Carson Hall dominated the heavyweight competition with 4 pins in just over 5 minutes of total wrestling time. Hall closed out the finals with his pin of Montevallo heavyweight Cole Dennis to finish the season undefeated, 26-0. Carson Hall of Ranburne High School over in Cleburne County in East Alabama. AHSAA boys and girls tennis teams were eager to make sure the first state championship of the spring went off without a hitch. The Class 7A state tourney was held at Montgomery's Lagoon Park, while Mobile Tennis Center hosted the Class 1A, 3A, 4A, 5A, and 6A state championships. Spain Park took home the Class 7A boys title, while Huntsville finished as runner-up. Auburn's girls won their first state championship, winning over Vestavia Hills in a tiebreaker at Lagoon Park to take the 7A girls crown. At Mobile, Madison Academy, St. John Paul II Catholic, Houston Academy, St. Luke's Episcopal, Montgomery Academy, and Mountain Brook all captured the blue trophies in the other tourneys. The Lady Spartans of Mountain Brook coach Susan Farlow dominated the Class 6A state meet action, posting 83 points to claim the school's 30th girls state tennis title overall. The girls won all 6 singles finals and 2 of 3 doubles titles, with Pippa Roy claiming #1 singles and Emma Karcher winning at #2. The two combined to win the #1 doubles championship. Montgomery Academy posted the win at #2 doubles to keep Mountain Brook from a complete sweep. And we're not done yet. When we come back, we're going to look back at 2 of the outstanding basketball players, a boy and a girl, in the state of Alabama in the 2021 season, and also maybe the most memorable finish in state finals history as far as the Super 7 state football championships. All of that and more as we continue with our look back at the AHSAA season in review here on WOTF.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Ox Foundation Solutions has the expertise and the know-how to repair cracks, wet basements and crawl spaces, and uneven floors in your home. Ox Foundation Solutions will come up with the right fix for you. It's time to get strong. How strong? Ox Strong.
The AHSAA Weekly continues now with our special look back at the 2020-2021 athletic year in the Alabama High School Athletic Association. We're going to take you to the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic basketball games in both girls and boys, and we're going to highlight as part of that 2 of the most outstanding players in a long time in state history in girls and boys basketball. From Geneva County, Caroline Striplett headed to the University of Tennessee. And in Class 2A on the boys' side, we have J.D. Davison of Calhoun High School in Ledohatchee in Lowndes County taking his talents to the University of Alabama. Here's a look back at the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classics and especially these 2 outstanding basketball players.
Coach Mike Chase of Spain Park leads the girls from Alabama to a 102-70 win over Mississippi to crank up our evening tonight in Montgomery. A big win for the Alabama girls as they win by 32, really dominating from start to finish.
They did. They got a lot of great shooters, and they also had the inside play, and that was the difference in the ball.
Yeah, very solid team from start to finish. And, you know, when you go back and you look at the highlights, the defense seemed to kind of set the tone early for Alabama as they continue to get steals and get out there on those fast break points.
Yeah, the one thing Alabama had, they had their post players willing to run the floor at all times. There was a lot of hustle from this Alabama squad.
Outside from Mississippi, shooting that one is Macy Walker. She's the MVP for Mississippi, had 13 points in this ball game. But right there, this is the way it went a lot tonight. The rebound by Stripling, she had 8 of those, and she passes ahead to get her teammates involved. And Stripling, the MVP, scoring 17 points. She leading 5 different players in double figures tonight for Alabama.
Yeah, it shows you how well they distributed the ball, how unselfish they were. This team was really fantastic. One of the best Alabama all-star teams we've seen since we've been calling these games.
Again, Alabama able to drive in. Big shot there by Nia Valentine, and she has done that throughout her career. Alicia Dudley, same thing.
Oh, yeah.
She's done that her entire career. No problem about range. I mean, the girls could hit from outside.
And nobody was scared to shoot it from anywhere. I'm talking about anywhere on the court.
Second half highlights, you take a look at this, and it's more of the same. Great shooting from the outside, getting those big three-pointers right there is Caitlin Peterson. She finished the night with 15. On the other side, this lady right here, Alicia Wilson, she's headed to Cohona Community College out of Independence, but man, she goes from length of the floor to the length of the floor. She goes all the way down, and she knows how to handle the ball.
And there's Rogers for Alabama, too. She did so well. Parker played fantastic. Just again, I know that Stripling is easily the MVP, but after that, you could have picked 6 players from Alabama who you would have thought would be second best.
Always hitting those mid-range jumpers. That's a good one right there by Grace Watson. And as we said, a 32-point win for the Alabama All-Stars tonight in this classic matchup. Two-point win for the state of Mississippi here on the boys' side as they defeat Alabama 93-91 in the 31st meeting between the two. Tommy Wood, Luke Robinson here had a chance to, and really a pleasure of bringing you this game tonight, because this was a clash of two teams deep in talent, and really neither team could pull away from the other.
They really couldn't. Mississippi had a 13-point lead early in the contest, but Alabama fought back. They found the lineup that they needed to get back into it, and this was a lot of fun. Tom.
Yeah, very tight ball game throughout Mississippi. You see the guy right there, Rashad Bolden. He's your MVP from Mississippi. Really a field general for that team. On the other side, the Alabama team getting it done down low for a while, able to really keep things close, but also the guy going to South Carolina, Carlos Williams, can shoot from inside and outside. We saw some high-flying acrobatics here in this one, Luke.
Oh, we certainly did. And J.D. Davidson for Alabama, my goodness, he has a knack for finding the open man. There were several times he made a pass. We don't know how he saw him, but the other thing he can do, whenever he wants to get to the rim, he can get to the rim.
Great moves down in the interior to get loose. And again, Alabama with some good interior passing, able to get some open lay-ins. You also take a look at these highlights. You can see how well Alabama could shoot. But Davison can get to the rim. He can get above the rim as well.
He can get way above the rim. And the other thing that really I took away from this is that Davidson almost gets bored getting to the rim sometimes, and I think he needs to get over that. I think he feels like at times maybe he's not involving his teammates enough. Well, tonight they needed him to take over. I know it was a team full of alphas, but he was the alpha dog for sure.
Alabama All-Stars able to get a few layups on the other end on some fast break opportunities, keep cutting into that lead. But again, more high-flying acrobatics from Mississippi. Second half, you looked, and Alabama had cut it to 3. Mississippi gets off to a quick start early in the second half, able to get a couple of big steals, and another one right here by Rashad Bolden, as he once again is your MVP from Mississippi. But MVP on the other side from Alabama, you see the guy taking it to the hole right there, and Davidson continues all night long to able to get to the rim.
And he has again, great court vision. He can pass it with either hand very, very well. Played some incredible defense tonight, too, I thought. And, you know, another guy that played very hard, is not going to show up in the stat line, that's Riley Leonard.
Absolutely. He was involved in a lot of defensive plays. Mississippi able to get loose on a couple of fast breaks. Hitting the floater right there is Bolden once again. But then you got J.D. Davidson just taking it strong to the hole. They get to the final stretch, able to get a few things down low as they make that charge. Alabama, you thought, well, they may pull this thing out just behind the way Davidson was really crashing to the rim. But a big block right there at the end of the ball game. And Mississippi claims a 93-91 win.
And finally, as we take a look back at highlights of the year, we cannot talk about the Alabama High School Athletic Association athletic year without going back to the Super 7 state championships at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. The first championship was in Class 7A between Auburn and Thompson, and one of the most memorable finishes in state championship history.
And you saw that Auburn offense get things going. Second half, it looks right here as if Auburn is going to get a big game, but nope, the speed of Thompson able to cash it down. We saw that a lot of times. But on this run right here, Caldwell finds a gap and just out-races everybody in the end zone, and Auburn getting a big lead after Caldwell's run there.
And really, until the last 18 seconds of the night, it's going to be an all Auburn night. You can see, bad punt right here sets up Auburn again in great field position. It's kind of interesting to keep note of who that punter was. Little cutback run right here to put Auburn in a lead that looks pretty good right now.
Good defense right here. They get the interception, but Auburn able to cash it in. Then a turnover right here by Caldwell. Alexander pounces on that one. Pepins makes another big play. He gets into the end zone for Thompson.
And see, all these plays, as you look at them now, look huge.
Roberson goes deep. He's picked off there. And you really start to think right here it's Auburn's night because the time starts to wind down. Here's the biggest play of the night, the block punt right here. And into the end zone go the Warriors, and we're down to 18 seconds. And then you cut it down to 2. The onside kick, the second biggest play of the night, and Thompson recovers there. And then you got another big play. Roberson looks in the flats. Pass interference going to be the call. And then he's going to look deep. Down the middle he goes, and you see the hold right there at about the 5-yard line. That 15-yard penalty moves it forward, sets up the 35-yarder as time expires, and the Warriors get that 1-point win, 29-28, and the celebration was on at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
It's about the 5th time I've looked at that, Tommy. I still can't believe it.
1-point win for Thompson. They get the 7A state title here in 2020.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA Weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup. Back on the AHSAA Weekly, and of course, one of the most memorable events that happened in the entire athletic year was the retirement of the Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Steve Savarese, after many years of dedicated service to high school athletics here in the state of Alabama. That was followed very quickly by the naming of the new Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Alvin Briggs. Let's take you to the announcement of Alvin Briggs as the new Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association.
It's great to have so many of you here today on this historic day when we name the 5th Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I want to welcome all of our guests and thank you for being here on this special day. I want to let you know also that I'm a little more relaxed than the last time that I did this, knowing that my time is short, but I am so excited for the future of this association. The next leader of this association will take our association to a new level. He'll be dependent on the great staff that's here at the Alabama High School Athletic Association, joining in with him to lead our 156,000 athletes, our 15,000 administrators, and 8,000 officials into the next generation. So before we introduce our next executive director, I want to introduce the president of the Central Board of Control, Van Phillips, principal, Centerpoint High School.
Thank you, Mr. Savarese. I'm very excited to be standing here today to announce the next executive director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. First, I want to thank Mr. Savarese for his outstanding service, first as a coach and administrator at Alabama High School Athletic Association member schools for more than 3 decades. And I thank him even more for his 15 years of outstanding leadership as executive director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. We will miss you, Mr. Savarese, but we also wish you well in your retirement. I feel your leadership has made the Alabama High School Athletic Association the best high school athletic association in America. I also want to thank the Central Board of Control and the Search Committee for its thorough search for the 5th executive director in Alabama High School Athletic Association history. Based on the past success of our Central Board, we know this has been a very difficult task and one that has lasting impact on this great organization. The work this committee has put forth has been outstanding. On behalf of the Central Board, I want to also thank those who applied for this important position. The list of candidates was amazing, and it left our committee with a very difficult decision. We pared the list down to 3 founders. Each one in their own right would have been an excellent choice for us. We thank each of you for your professionalism and candor during this process. However, with that being said, we could only choose one person. I'm proud to say I believe we have selected a person who can meet the challenges that currently face the Alabama High School Athletic Association now and in the coming years, with the same commitment to the Alabama High School Athletic Association mission and the 4 executive directors that came before him. The person we have selected attended high school in the Alabama High School Athletic Association, where he was an outstanding student athlete. He went on to represent his family, his school, and the Alabama High School Athletic Association well at the collegiate and the professional level. After coaching for several years at the collegiate level, he became a high school teacher, coach, and administrator at our member schools, again, representing himself as the ultimate professional. And for the last decade, this man has been of impeccable character and has served on the Alabama High School Athletic Association executive staff, first as director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association Athletic Directors and Coaches Association, and for the last 3 years, he has helped lead the Alabama High School Athletic Association as the Associate Executive Director, standing only next to Mr. Steve Savarese. We have been fortunate to have known him and to have him working hand in hand with Mr. Savarese, the Central Board, and with our member schools, and fully understand the mission of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. We all agree he was the most qualified person for this very important job. Now, I am very proud and pleased to introduce Mr. Alvin Briggs, the Alabama High School Athletic Association next Executive Director. Congratulations, Mr. Briggs.
Wow. Thank you. I want to thank you for those kind words. As I look across and look out in this room, I see a lot of familiar faces. Some from my childhood hometown to some hometowns that I've grown to call my hometown. I want to thank the Central Board Search Committee, along with the Central Board, and Van Phillips, the board president, Mr. Steve Savarese, executive director, for having the confidence in me that I will be the leader of this great organization for years to come. There's no doubt I have big shoes to fill. The previous executive directors, Cliff Hopper, Bubba Scott, Dan Washman, and of course, Mr. Savarese, have set a legacy of great leadership across this nation for this organization. And I prayerfully will do the same thing with my leadership. As I look to my left, this gentleman, from day one when he introduced me as his son. He's been more than a mentor. He has been that father for me. You know, I kind of wrote a little speech here, but I'm a different for that a little bit because I said he's a father figure. You know, I grew up in a home with loving parents. I grew up in a home with parents that supported me. But I don't mind saying this. My father was an alcoholic. He wasn't always there, but it didn't mean he didn't love me. But when I got to know this gentleman right here to my left, and I've had other men in my life that I would say were father figures, but this gentleman has been more than a father figure. He has been a dad. So it's never been an embarrassment when other men would say, "There's your daddy. I see you standing beside your daddy." I took it as a great honor because that's what he's been, a father and a great mentor. And my prayer is I can lead this organization to new heights as he's done. More importantly, I don't want any of us to forget the mission of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. This association is here to serve our member schools through sportsmanship, competition, and enhanced student learning. With integrity as its foundation, the association consistently governs the rules created by our member schools. We're here to serve our member schools, and we will continue to serve our member schools. I promise you that. All our member schools. They're all important. All 413 of them. As Van mentioned, I grew up in this organization. I have a letter on my office wall now from being selected in the All-Star game from Mr. Bubba Scott. The first time I met Mr. Scott, he was talking to us about being well-groomed and the fact that we was going to church in the next 20 minutes. So you got 5 minutes to get downstairs. I will continue to strive to lead this association to be the best in the nation. And I will be able to do that with the great staff that's assembled here at the Alabama High School Athletic Association. There's no doubt we have the best in the nation. Lastly, to each of the executive directors before me and to Mr. Savarese, my goal and my plan and my prayer is to leave this association better than it was handed to me. That will be a daunting task, but I look forward to the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you to Coach Steve Savarese for all of the years of dedicated service to coaches and athletes here in the state of Alabama, and congratulations to Alvin Briggs as he begins his journey as the new executive director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. That's going to wrap up this special Year in Review. We will see you later on this summer here on the AHSAA Weekly.